G'day, guys, and welcome to Warrior by Design. I'm your host, Benjamin John. So in today's episode, I just want to talk a little bit about all these kind of concepts and sayings that are out there, right? Like, being in the moment, being present, having awareness. Look, there's so many out there in regards to, taking responsibility, taking ownership, all these type of concepts that are out there in relation to self-development and, personal growth and, well, a lot of basically life in general, right? If I'm honest, if I'm just trying to sort of summarize some of this stuff into a nutshell, from what I've learned in regards to, some scientific, studies on, the brain and the unconscious and habitual habits and all these things that are out there in relation to, knowing what programmings we're working off and, what we've downloaded from the age of 0 to 7 and, and our environments and the people we've been around and all that sort of stuff that we, that's out there being told. The interesting thing for me is it's really been moving from a place of, yes, the habitual habits, something that it's kind of running off default, right? Now, this thing about, there's a lot of talk out there about emotions and, spiritual bypassing and so on and so forth. The interesting thing I've found with my own life and my emotions is when I've actually had no attachment to my emotion, in the sense that I don't believe that I require to experience emotion in such a, profound way that I used to, to where it's actually inhibiting my experience, or it's controlling my experience, or it seems like it's controlling my experience, or allowing me to have moments or experiences that I may not see as, favorable or whatever. I keep coming back to this sort of, we hear, these balances and, being centered and grounded and all this sort of stuff. To me, what it comes down to, for, if I was to try and, as I said, summarize into, a small category, is really coming to a point in your life of wanting to know and be very clear with what you do and don't want in your life. And when you come to that place of what you do and don't want, it's almost like coming to an understanding and taking responsibility for creating that within your life. Now, the things that allow us to be able to change that is, well, being able to challenge ourselves with what we currently know to be our experience, challenge ourselves to what we currently see as our beliefs, or, potentially our black and white view on the world and the way things are, but also really taking responsibility for what we're allowing into our lives, right? Now, this isn't just, what we watch on TV, which, is quite big, or what we listen to, but really the responsibility is seeking what it is that you require to have the experiences that you do and don't want, right? So if you require boundaries, or you're required to have a better understanding of boundaries, how to have that within your life. And when I say boundaries, this isn't a, a fuck off type of attitude. It's more coming to a point in your life where you truly will and won't accept certain things, right? And also taking responsibility for your own actions with the way you're showing up in the world and the way you're interacting with people and communicating and so on and so forth. When we come to that place of acceptance of our own responsibilities, of how we want to show up, our own responsibilities and our own discernment of what our boundaries will be, i.e. what we will and won't accept. We come to, and then we have the responsibility of seeking what it is we require to have these experiences, looking at our environment, looking at what we're allowing into our thoughts and what we're allowing into, our awareness or our environment, more very much our environment, whether that be through what we read, what we watch, what we listen to, who we're around, who we listen to, who we hang around, or who we allow within our immediate circle, or who we allow to influence us or not influence us, and so on and so forth. If I kind of look at it, I wonder how we truly believe that we can affect change or have a different experience if we're not willing to challenge some of this stuff. These things like being in the moment and being present and having the awareness and all these sort of sayings and grounded and so on and so forth, or just being resilient or disciplined or having structure or whatever it is. If we don't truly understand what it is we want, the why we're seeking these things, or the why we're wanting to change our experiences, how do we come to a place of potentially being in the moment? And being in the moment, I mean having the awareness of what we're allowing into our environment, what we're allowing ourselves to perceive and believe, or we're allowing ourselves to take in and not take in, and what we're allowing ourselves to tell ourselves, the chitter chatter, the stuff that we're listening to. When we allow ourselves to come to the awareness of challenging some of that stuff to be able to create what it is we want to create, to be able to bring into our lives what it is we require to bring into our lives, be it through learnings or experiences or people or the environment we're in or an environment we want to be in. If we continue doing the exact same thing every day, I wonder how we truly can come into the moment. And even if we say that we're in the moment and we're in a scenario where life's grand, fantastic. If we don't allow ourselves to have new experiences or potentially challenge what it is we're experiencing in that moment, and if it's perfection, fine. We don't have to do any of this stuff. We don't have to change. We don't have to look at anything else. But if you truly want this, you truly desire, and it doesn't have to be, we're in a terrible place in life or whatever. But if you truly desire to have kids, or you truly desire to scale your business, or you truly desire to change your habit, or your diet, or start exercising, or whatever it is, I think the key thing is we need to desire it, right? Or at least have enough of a willingness or an understanding that this is something we really want in our lives. Because being that moment, having that awareness, I think it could be quite difficult if I look back to when I was trying, because in the moment, well, anywhere in life, we can say we're in the moment, right? The key difference is, are you experiencing what you want to experience in that moment? And if not, what is the challenge that's in front of you, or that you're experiencing, that isn't allowing you, that you believe or you perceive isn't allowing you to have that in your life? And if we allow ourselves to potentially look into some of that stuff, the stuff that we see is stopping us or challenging us to be able to not have that, and doesn't mean we have to fight that or we have to force anything, but just truly look at it and be honest with ourselves with what we require to potentially challenge or change or rewrite or adapt what it is we're currently doing. It's not always about cutting everything away and having to replace it or change it completely. That's a beautiful thing of adapting, right? And adaptation, to be able to bring maybe smaller parts or smaller experiences into our lives to adapt into the current life that we're having. We don't have to necessarily pick up and just change everything at once, but this moment stuff and all this stuff that's out there explaining, if I'm honest, for me personally, it was first and foremost coming to an understanding of taking responsibility for creating that stuff within my life, for creating and seeking and being dedicated enough to be what it is I wanted. Anyway, guys, it's a bit of food for thought. I'll speak to you soon. Bye. Well, thank you for listening. If you found this episode valuable, please take the time to like, share, and subscribe. It really does make a difference. It helps others out there explore their warrior, create a life of choice by design, and be all that they wish to be. Remember, explore, create, and be.